would you like to get better at crafting a speech, organizing it, and delivering it with ease and confidence? Well, at the end of this segment, you'll be able to do just that. I'm Glenn Thayer, a member of Pikes Peak Toastmasters, here to share a few not-so-secret tips on preparing and presenting a basic 5 to 7 minute speech. A speech has 3 basic elements: an opening, a body, and a conclusion. The opening sets the stage for the speech and should be about 30 to 60 seconds long. You're also going to want to use this time to grab the audience's attention. Now, you can use a lot of things like a joke or a question, a quote, or even a statistic. Just make sure that it relates to the speech. You wouldn't want to give a statistic on how many toothpicks are made from a single tree when giving a speech on single parenting, let's say. This is also where you're going to want to tell your audience why you're speaking to them and why it's worth their time to listen. If the topic you're speaking about requires some credibility and it wasn't included in your introduction, this is where you're going to want to mention it. If you're talking about gastric bypass surgery, let us know if you're a surgeon, someone who went through the procedure, or if you're researching the subject because it's something you're interested in having done. All of this prepares the audience for the next section, the body. The body of your speech is where the bulk of the content's going to be and should be 4 to 5 minutes long. The key part to having a successful speech is to make sure that your content is organized logically by date, instructional steps, or whatever you need to do. I find the simplest way to do it, especially if you're talking about part of your life, is to do it chronologically. For example, I had a few experiences in my early years that really made an impact on my life. Point 1. In 1982, I lost Sammy Hagar's football in the rafters backstage at the LA Sports Arena. Point 2. In 1983, I drove my aunt's Trans Am through Beverly Hills. I was 12. Point 3. In 1985, I saw Bruce Springsteen at the LA Coliseum on the Born in the USA tour. Now, if you stick to 3 points and talk about each point for about 1.5 minutes, you'll pretty much hit your time target. This is also a good opportunity to look at those points and make sure that they flow together and fit the theme of the speech. Then, it's time to conclude. The conclusion should be 30 to 60 seconds. You're going to recap what you said in the body and tell the audience why it mattered. If you have a call to action, or if you're trying to persuade the audience to do something, the conclusion is the time to let them know. For example, if you're outraged by the way our city's run, show up and voice your opinion during the city council meeting on Monday night. After you've delivered your last line, pause. It's then perfectly acceptable to refer back to the Toastmaster with a Mr. Toastmaster or a Madam Toastmaster. Now that you've written your speech, you're halfway there. Practice your speech out loud until you're comfortable enough to turn your speech into bullet points. If you've practiced enough, you should have less than 9 bullet points on your page. You can leave your paper with the notes on it on the lectern so you can refer to it if you need to. Now is the time to give the speech. So how do you overcome the nervousness? Well, don't take a Valium or a nip off the flask. You don't want to do anything that will impair your ability to share your message. The good news is that nothing helps calm the nerves better than preparation. First, know your material. If you pick a topic that you know about, you'll have something personal to say and you'll have expertise to share. Each one of us are experts in something. It could be gardening, children, or even rocket science. Share your passion. Practice makes perfect. Keep rehearsing your speech until you no longer need your notes. Then, practice a little more. You'll always be able to glance at your notes if you feel you missed a key point. Start by practicing in the mirror. And if you have a video camera, use it to tape your speech. You can then look at what needs work and fix it. Get there early and meet some of the audience members when they come through the door. It's always easier to speak to people you already know. When they sit down in the audience, you'll have friendly faces that you can refer to. If it's your first speech, it's easy to feel that everyone can see you're nervous. Don't worry about it, because they probably will never notice anyway. And the more you speak, the more experience you'll get, and the easier that it's going to get. And the last thing is get a mentor. They've stood in your shoes before, and they can help you avoid the pitfalls and encourage you to be your best. Remember, your speech needs an opening, a body, and a conclusion. Once it's written, practice, practice, practice. With these simple tips, your speaking abilities and your confidence will shine, and your nerves will be under control.